to share a new story. Well, I have chosen a rather challenging story to share. The title is Moon Puppets. If you have this book at home, you can read along with me. The author, the person who has written this story, is Baxter B. Bramati, and the person who has produced all the pictures is Taylor J. Graham. Now in this story, we're going to meet Flora. Flora wants to create the most fantastic puppet show for everyone to see. Shall we read and find out what happens? Moon Puppets. In a house on a hill lived Flora Figglesworth, who wanted to make shadow puppets for all the people on Earth. By using herself, the sun and the moon, she set out for her adventure on the 7th of June. With socks and jeans of the colour blue and the hair on her head of a similar hue, Flora dreamt of climbing high above all lands to project shadows on the moon with both of her hands. She was inspired to do this a day or two ago when her father created a fantastic puppet show. Without electricity, for one very dark night, he made shadows with his hands and a bright flashlight. Wow, Pop! This is truly amazing to me. Can I create these images for the whole world to see? Flora thought for some time, then came up with a plan. I have great inspiration, and I know that I can. She used the sun as her flashlight and the moon as her wall. Her first attempts proved futile, for she was just too small. Flora walked out at sunrise and stretched up to the sky. She knew then that she needed to be in a place up high. The next morning, she climbed on top of the roof, but this attempt still made her feel very aloof. Again, nothing happened. She was not high enough, but that did not stop her, for Flora was tough. She climbed every tower in her whole neighborhood to stand at the top, confident that she could. Flora raised her arms up each morning at sunrise as light from the sun would first hit her blue eyes. As the sun rose up, she would stare at the moon, hoping a shadow would show up on it soon. But light directed her shadows down to the ground and turned her eyes towards them and her mouth to a frown. So Flora built a tower with anything she could find. Her mother even helped her, for she was very kind. The tower extended way past the sky, and the top no one could see with a naked eye. But before Flora climbed it, her father packed her a lunch of sandwiches, cookies, and bananas in a bunch. The tower was finished. She set off for the top. There was no turning back and no reason to stop. It was a long, tiring trip to the top of the tower, but outer space was cold, so there was no need to shower. At the top, her trip was complete, but her task was not. And Flora knew this time she had found the perfect spot. As the sun rose up, she could go forth no more. Flora raised her hands like all those times before. The sun caught her reach. People looked up from below. They saw shadows of her hands from the sun's glow. Flora had created the most spectacular sight, and she stood there proudly at the ultimate height. The shadows represented everything her hands did. Flora crossed her thumbs and said, "The eagle has landed!" Oh, what a fabulous story that was! Oh, Flora had such a wonderful imagination and determination. She set herself a challenge to create the most spectacular shadow puppet show for the world to see. Even though her first attempts didn't work, she kept on trying and stretching higher and higher. And in the end, Flora met her challenge. All that hard work and effort, she did make the most fabulous shadow puppet show for the world to see. I wonder if you could use your hands and a wall and a flashlight. Do you think you could create a shadow puppet show? I hope you've enjoyed today's Shed Time story. And if you want to, you can like, share, follow and subscribe to Shed Time Stories. And then you will be ready for the next book for us to share together. Bye-bye.